welcome to today's tutorial. We're going to keep advancing with our polygon modeling, okay? And we're going to be converting our shapes into editable poly. And this is kind of our end goal with this project. A few of the things I'm going to demonstrate is how to use the NURMS tool. So we're going to just get started here by drawing basically the head of the mushroom cap here for our Goomba. And I'm going to grab my box tool. I'm going to go in my top view here. And let's just go. You can turn your magnets on. You don't have to either way. If I turn that on to my grid points, let's see. I can grab here and we'll just go like that. And then if I'm going up, I want to make it a cube. Let's go up 4. So now I got a perfect cube, 40 by 40 by 40. Okay. What we want to do now is we want to rotate to the bottom. I'm going to convert this shape to an editable poly, and we are going to pull the stem out of the bottom here. So kind of tip your screen. Remember, to tip your screen, you can hold Alt and then depress the mouse wheel. That will let you rotate around. And when I'm going to turn off my snap toggles here, and I'm going to right click on my shape, and I'm going to go to convert to editable poly so that I can get my ribbon tools. If your ribbon tools are not showing up, try these two things. First of all, reset your workspace. So go here, switch it off, and then switch it back to default. If that still doesn't work, then you can try this. You can right click on here, and let me see if I can actually show you the menu. And you want to turn on ribbon here, and that should show up in your scene. Now it will probably be collapsed, so you can expand it using this show full ribbon tool, and then that will let you see your tools. All right, now that we have that, what we want to do is we want to select my polygon or my face here. Okay, so here's my face. And when I get that, these tools are smart tools in my menu. It gives me tools that I can use on this surface. I want to go to my inset, and we want to inset for making the size of the mushroom. Now, obviously, this is a cube, and my mushroom is cylindrical, but we just kind of want to, let me do it here, I guess. We're going to pull this in to about here. Okay, that would be like 20 by 20 by 20. All right, that's my inset. When that's done, now I can extrude that out of here by pulling it down or up. Oh, you know what? That's the top view. Hold on. I can switch this to bottom view and then do the same thing. Let me do that again. Inset, and okay, I want to go about like that by 20 by 20, and now I can extrude. You'll see it showed up here on the bottom, and I'm just going to go, I don't know, about yay far. Okay, something that sticks out. Maybe that's too far. If it's too far, just grab your move tool and slide it back up with the blue and kind of set it how you want. Okay, now here's what I want to show you. To introduce the NURM tools, you'll see that this is not quite enough modeling yet in order for this rounding tool to work. I'm going to just turn it on. We can turn it on and off. Okay, it's going to smooth our subject. And what happens when we turn it on? The whole thing just kind of turns and goes round. You should have a menu bar box pop up somewhere in your screen when you turn that on. Okay, check left, check right. Mine is lost right now. Let me try turning it off and on again. Oh, here it is. It showed up on the other screen. Usually for some reason it shows up on the second screen. And this is the menu bar you have. You can change your smoothness, and you can change your iterations, or how many times it's taking each of your segments and kind of rounding them. Okay, if I multiply it by 2, it's going to make it more round. Try not to go more than 2 or 3, or it's going to bog down your computer. But here's the thing. I don't want it to round this, and I want it to change the shape of this. So we need to do some adjustments. So how do we do that? Let's turn off our NURMS tool. And the first thing we want to do is we want to detach the ring around here, the bottom, because that ring is making this bottom edge collapse. So if I go and I rotate my shape, these four rings here I want to get rid of. So I'm going to make sure I have my my polygon tool. I'm going to click one. You can do control and do all four of these and just hit delete on your keyboard and get rid of them. Okay. Now, if we go back into our NURM tool, okay, now you notice that the bottom edge of our mushroom cap does not round off because we created a physical break in here. Is not trying to round into this part. All right, so we manipulated the program a little bit for that. Next step, we need to add a few more breaks in here and some segments in there, and we didn't set that up beforehand, but we're going to use our Swift Loop tool that we used in our last activity. I'm going to grab it in here. Since if you're not seeing that, you can go back in here, make sure it's still in Editable Poly, and you can go up and just grab your Swift Loop. Make sure your edged faces are on, okay, edge faces, and turn on Swift Loop. Now, here's how we want to Swift Loop this. Okay, turn on Swift Loop. We're going to put some rings in here. Maybe I'll put one towards the top. I'm going to put one towards the bottom. And I'll put two here in the middle. And what we can do is we can manually resize these. But now I want to get out of Swift Loop. So let's turn Swift Loop off. And we're going to turn NURMS on again. So now if you notice, the only thing that's really rounding here is the difference from this edge to this edge. So we were able to control the Swift Loop, or the NURMS tool, by it only rounds from the very top one, but these, it remains straight. So that gives us some ideas of how to manipulate our tool in order for it to show what we want. So what we're going to do with these, okay, we're going to grab these different parts of our tool. Let me go on the top. All right, and I'm going to scale the top down. We could scale this a few different ways. I could grab the ring around here, but I can just select my shape and I can go scale, and I can shrink this down to about this size. Okay. Now I'm going to go and we're going to grab these edges, and we want to grab the loops around here. So I'm going to grab this edge. Oops, I don't want to move it. Undo. And then I'm going to grab my loop tool, and that's going to loop that whole tool, and I'm going to scale this down to about here. Okay. Now let's turn our NURMS on and let's just see what we got going. All right. We're starting to round off the edge of this. And it's starting to take shape, but we still need a little bit of work here. Okay. So this is kind of like we're manually kind of manipulating things as if it were clay. I'm going to grab this side now, grab my loop tool, and that's going to loop it all the way around. I'm still in my edges. I can hit 2 on the keyboard if I want to do that as well. And I'm going to, let's expand this out just a smidge like this. We're going to do this one as well. I'm going to loop it and grab this one and bring it out a little more like that. And we're kind of getting the basic shape of the Goomba. And now I turn on NURMS and we can kind of see what it's looking like. All right. I can leave NURMS on now, and I can still do the same type of scaling with it, and I can still loop while it's in NURMS to kind of tweak this a little bit. Okay, so grab the parts and kind of bring them in, bring them out. And I'll let you kind of decide what you feel is going to be your best shape for your particular Goomba. Now, if I want to take this top loop as well, I'm going to click on box 2 now. Okay. And you notice this actually gets narrower at the top than the bottom. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a Swift Loop tool in here. I'm going to turn NURMS off. Select turn NURMS off and grab Swift Loop. And we're going to bring it maybe like this. And then I'm going to grab my top, I got to turn Swift Loop off, grab my top line here. Now it probably won't give you, it doesn't always give you loop when you're on the end of an object, but it did that time. And I can grab scale and I can just scale that top down like that. Now how does it look? Okay, we're kind of getting that general shape. All right, so that is going to be phase one of our project. Get the shape how you want it to be, and then we will come back in our next video and we will attempt on adding the face. So thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to seeing you in the next one.